Right, so let's go ahead and grab this one here. And this actually just came to me. All right, so this, ladies and gentlemen, it's a 7800 XT, obviously, Gigabyte. Now, I have not even diagnosed this card, but I marked it as memory errors. I get these cards so often that I no longer grab them, put them in the rig, and test them for memory errors. Simply what I do is go into Windows. If it's detected and gives me the error code 43, or even if it's not detected, typically it's going to be, see those 3 thermal pads there? It's going to be one of these 3 chips. If not all 3, maybe the first one and the second one. But you see how twisted that that latch is right there? Okay, that's a clear giveaway, just visually, on what's wrong with this card. Basically, you're about to join me in a fabulous adventure where we're going to be replacing those 2 chips. Why do I replace both of them? Because if this one has gone bad, this other one here is not far behind. So we'll remove the first one and the second one, just so that the customer doesn't have to deal with this in the future. Or, yeah, that's the idea at least. So yeah, this is a very typical card. I get these very often. 3 or 4 or 5 will be on my shelf. This is actually one that just came in last night. So let's go ahead and get this repaired, and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. First, let me go ahead and install it in the system, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Error code 43. So if you have integrated graphics in your system, this is one way where you can do it yourself. You can diagnose your GPU just by installing your monitor to your integrated graphics. And if you're, let me just show you. All right, so here we go. We are in the desktop. So what you do is you want to right click on the Windows icon here. Go to Device Manager. And here you will see the following error here. You see where the AMD Radeon RX 7800 is. Just double click on that. You get error code 43. That tells you typically it's a memory related error. So this means that you have VRAM issues. You know, maybe 1, 2, or 3 of those chips have gone bad and you need to replace them. This is without me running Memtune. I'm just doing this blindly to prove a point. Let's turn this off and get to repairing this graphics card. All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing taken apart. In case you're wondering, these are Samsung memory chips typically that come with these cards. Sometimes you see some Hynix, but not very typical. And this SC20, they end with SC20, 20 meaning 20 gigabits per second type of memory. Fast GDDR6 stuff. But now that we have GDDR7 out, talking about these chips no longer feels like, you know, fast stuff anymore. But yeah, so these Gigabyte cards, specifically these Gigabyte cards here, they're very, they like to visit me a lot. Yeah, I have them here often. And very typical is the same thing. Typically it's 9 out of 10 times is going to be those memory chips there. I've gotten so used to it that I no longer even waste time running memory tests on it. I put a test for shorts, put it in the system. If it's detected in Windows, I know it's going to be those chips. Yeah, error code 43, boom. And 99.9% of the time, I've been correct. All right, so another way to kill your graphics cards when you're doing while you're doing thermal paste or thermal pad replacement is when you go and take them apart and you go like this and wham, like that, because then you're bending this here, and that would be an easy way to rip pads under those memory chips and also the core. So my advice would be to always grab it like this. See my thumbs here? As long as you have removed all the screws, and just go like this, like close to the PCI slot and push like this. Not in one point, because then you'll be bowing it. But you get the point. You guys are smart. What am I doing? I'm the dummy one. Okay, well, that wants to come out how it wants to come out. Yeah, that's no problem. And in case you're wondering, these thermal pads here are 1.5. I can verify that here in a bit. These here, these are 1 millimeter, 1 millimeter, and 1 millimeter. This on the chokes and on the VRM. Here you have 1.5. I believe it's 1.5, but yeah, it's 1.5. Yeah, and these are not bad quality thermal pads either. So anyway, yeah, oh, also I forgot to let you know, this is going to be a long video. Oopsies. So those of you who do not have the attention span, this is your time to bail out. But those weirdos that like these long, boring videos, stick around, because I got one for you. Yep. Okay. So, and yeah, you gotta also, you know what? I have this right here. I don't know why I don't just, yeah. But the reason why I'm showing you this here and I haven't cut the video, it's just in case you have this card here and you want to know what you're getting yourself into before you start taking it apart. As far as thermal pads, you know, that sort of deal. How many screws you have to deal with, what you should remove and not remove. Because this is going on the preheater, I have to remove pretty much everything that is screwed onto this thing. So all these screws here gotta go. I have to take this IO plate off. And if you're wondering what this tool is, Stanley Fat Max. I paid about, I think it was 800 kroner. So about $80 around there for this thing. For me, it's worth it, especially if you're doing this on a daily basis. So having this right here, it's a blessing. Okay, so I think we removed all the screws. I think it's safe now to take it off the board, the back plate that is. Yep, there we go. We got huge thermal pad here. This is a 2.5. Yep, that's a 2.5. And this is the one thing I hate about these thermal pads, man. They break completely off, like they fall apart when you start taking them apart here. I am not going to reuse this here. I'm going to have to add a new one. Or I might reuse it. I mean, yeah, I might. But it's 2.5. It's not that bad. Yeah. But anyway, see what I mean? Like, yeah. And here, do not run anything metallic through these resistors, because you will probably destroy something, maybe a trace, maybe mask, I don't know. Just don't. If you want to do some cleaning here, please make sure it's plastic, or else you will pay the price. So anyway, that's the best I could get it for now. But anyway, that's not our concern. And remember what I was telling you guys about AMD using quality MOSFETs. Well, we have an MPS controller and MPS power drivers. I don't know if you can see that there. Oops, sorry. Trying to poke you guys in the eye. But yeah, these are all MPS. So PWM controller and power drivers, MPS, quality stuff, in case you were wondering. By the way, never when you're wiping the core like this off, when you're removing the thermal paste, never use a cloth, especially fiber, or what is it called? Yeah, any type of cloth. Don't use that, because you can yank these little caps right here, or resistors. You can yank them right off. Use paper. See the paper's tearing apart? That's what you want to see, not the other way around. So just a pro tip. Yeah, so these are Samsung SC20 memory chips. I don't know if you can tell there. These are not cheap. They're kind of on the expensive side, especially now that memory prices have gone to the roof. Pretty ridiculous, if you ask me. But because I have a ton of it, these are reballed already. This one I haven't. You get it for the price that I got it for initially. And 90% of these here are from donor boards that were cracked, and just, yeah, something really catastrophic with the board. So this is where I get my memory chips. And yeah, so we're gonna need 2 of these. Let's go ahead and take these 2. And okay, let's put this on the preheater and yeah, start our fix. Okay, here's our preheater. Come on, there we go. Yeah, that's where I like it. Yeah, all right. There we go. Center it there. Yep, best as I can. Okay, and you guys will have to excuse me if I bump into you, because I have you here on the side on a tripod. But anyway, so in case you've never seen one of these videos before, or at least in my channel, I like to cover the core with these copper shims, or yeah, so whatever you want to call them. Anyway, and I'm going to also cover the last chip here. Now this chip, covering this chip here, you don't have to do. I do it anyway, because I like to have that peace of mind that I'm not going to reflow a chip that does not need reflowing. These things here are useless. I don't know why they use them. I don't know what they're thinking. So this is how I like my setup, like that. So as to protect the core and this third memory chip that I'm not going to be working on. So yeah, let's be generous here with our flux. And if you're wondering what type of flux I use, it's a cheap Chinese flux, but it's actually pretty good. I don't use this for reballing, but for everything else, micro soldering, repairs like this is my to-go flux. Yeah. As a no clean flux, actually literally no clean. It doesn't have the nasty smell. It doesn't smoke like other cheap stuff does. There's a lot of benefits to it. So yeah, that's why I keep buying it, and I will continue to do so. Yep. Anyway, let's get these 2 replaced. You may also notice that I don't use these here on my hot air. The reason why I don't use it is because and other technicians do like to use those tips. That either way, it's fine. You know, this is just the way I do it. I like to just keep it like this, so there's a wide spread of hot air, because I not only want to heat up the top of the chip, I also want to heat up the board around the chip, because I want the stuff. I want I want the solder to melt from beneath, not just from on top of the the chip, if you know what I mean. So this is why I have a wide, yeah, this is why I don't use those tips. But that's just my preference. There's nothing wrong with either way. This is just how I do it. Now these electrolytic capacitors right here, I also like to cover, but we're not so close. That's one. Let's go for number two. All right, so 1 and 2. Now we got to clean up those pads in order to put some new chips on there. Right now I am using leaded solder to clean these pads. I want to mix leaded solder with the unleaded solder that is on the existing pads, because leaded solder melts at a lower point than unleaded solder, and this will make my my job a lot easier here. It'll make my job easier when I come to wick the pads, and you see what I'm talking about here when I say wick the pads. And whenever you're done soldering and you're putting your tip away, it's always good to put a blob of solder like this on your tip before you put it away and turn off the machine, so that way you keep your tips clean for the next job. Now it's time to clean up the pads. For this I will need my microscope, or what I call my microscope. And right now what I'm doing is removing the old solder off the board, because I reball those memory chips with leaded solder. So yeah, I don't want to mix or I don't want to have leaded solder come onto pads that have unleaded solder, and then it'll be you'll have pads that are not connected properly, and just, you know, issues like that. You don't want that. So just make sure you clean these pads the best you can, and that ought to do it. As you can see, these pads, and this is very typical also with these cards, that the masking that they use here, that Gigabyte is using, is very yeah, you look at it and it already starts to fall apart. I'm not using very high temperatures here, or scrubbing too hard. This is just the way this stuff is. You can see it right there, you know. And typically, you know, you want to mask that, but it's not so far off that it'll, you know, cause me problems. So I'll just leave it as it is. A little bit of alcohol. All right, let's put some flux here. Not too much. You don't want to flood this area, because if you overdo it, then the chips won't stick to the pads if you put too much flux. So you want to be careful how much you use. You don't want to put an ocean of flux on there. There. Now we're going to line these up. I don't have the most steady hands, so sometimes I struggle, but it comes with the territory. All right, that's it. And now we just wait for the board to cool down. Okay, there we have it, and our memory chips are installed. And as you can see, that flux does not make a mess as long as you use the right amount. You just got to clean the surrounding areas, and yeah, you won't have any issues there. So how about we test it out and see if it actually worked? All right, let's go ahead and turn on the system and see if we get a post. And there we have it. Our little card is working. And yeah. Also, if you look, if you go back to the device manager, our 7800 XT is detected without any errors. So let's go ahead and do some benchmarking, making sure that this is actually fixed. Let's turn this off. And this part right here is kind of crucial. You do not want to ever cheap out on your thermal paste. So I use MX4 for most of my repairs because I have been using it for years, and I trust this paste, and its durability, longevity is good. So yeah, I want the customer to be happy. When it comes to thermal pads, this stuff right here, this is by Arctic. This stuff is too stiff. I don't like using this. You want to use something that is like this consistency here, you know, that grayish silicone based stuff. But Arctic also makes these pink ones, and these are pretty good. So we're going to be using these instead of the ones that came with the graphics card. I just like these because they're not as stiff as the ones that were on there. So yeah. And so there you have it. And I know that sometimes you may be inclined to cut them and, you know, cut them individually over the chips. I don't like to do that. I just like to put a big strip over the whole chip area so that it makes good contact with the heatsink and dissipate more heat. That's what I think in my head, at least. I know it'll be a little more conservative if you just cut them up, but you'll be saving what, like 1 millimeter, or I don't know, something like that. So yeah, that's why I don't do that. All right, so our little card is put back together. As you can see, we cannot get away from that twist there on that retention latch, but or whatever you want to call that. But we got good contact there. Memory pads or thermal pads on the memory, both sides. So yeah, let's go ahead and throw it in the system and see if what our temperature is going to be looking like. Yep. And all right, fellas, so we got the card working now. Stressing it. And yeah, that delta there between the hotspot and the core, that's nothing you can do to fix that, really. Or at least that I know of. And yeah, the memory temperatures are high, but that's the way these cards run. Everything looks good. So I think we call it a win. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.